I remember listening to music with my dad, driving on back dirt roads at my farm. We used to wear out everything from Tanya Tucker to Jimi Hendrix, and that's when I really found my love for loud music. A real turning point in my life was the house fire in St. Louis. It was the house I was born and raised in, and I got a call one day from my principal, and I came home and flames were shooting out of my window. And it was a pretty tragic day for me and my family, but the house was rebuilt. We moved back in, and it just wasn't the same, so we made a family decision to move to Nashville, and it was the best thing we ever did. When we moved to Nashville, that's when the journey began. I met a guy my age who had the same goals as me. He wanted to be a singer, so I invited him over to my house. We ended up getting really close. We started writing a bunch of songs together, and we decided to put a video on YouTube of The Girl Is Mine by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. And we put it on YouTube, and within a week or two, I got an email from one of the producers at The Ellen Show. 2 weeks after that, we were in LA on the show, and it changed my entire life.
I don't understand the way you think. I say that she's yours, not mine. Sending roses and your silly dreams. It's really just a waste of time because she's mine. The doggone girl is mine.
My producer is Byron Gallamore, and the funny thing is, I met his wife first before I met him.
She had like 10 screaming girls in the car with her, and they all dropped by the hip-hop shop to see him play one afternoon. And we're all delighted with what they heard. They came home talking about Dakota. That's all I could hear.
And the next day, I got to meet Byron at breakfast with her, and the same day I got to go play his daughter's birthday party, and that was the first time Byron ever saw me play.
And he just did a fantastic job. He's a great singer and writer, songwriter, and his guitar skills were absolutely amazing.
But there's something like something feels nothing like nothing before.
Byron and I really clicked and hit it off when we first met. After he gave me my publishing deal, my family really started to take me serious at that point. And one day Byron called me and he said, "I got somebody I want you to meet." And I had no idea who it was, and he said, "It's Tim McGraw." So I was driving to the Blackbird Studios, just shaking and nervous. My palms were sweating.
You know, Byron had told me for a while that he had this kid that he'd been working with and been writing, and he said it was really fantastic. And then we were in the studio recording my 2 Lanes of Freedom album, and he was talking about Dakota, and I said, "Well, was he around? Is he anywhere close?" And he said, "Yeah, he's close." And I said, "Well, bring him over." So he came over to the studio, and we were on a break, and we sat down in the break room, and then Dakota started playing some songs for me on acoustic guitar, and I was blown away.
And I had to serenade Tim McGraw with 2 love songs, and by the end of it, he was playing the air drums and rocking out.
But not only his songwriting, certainly his age and how good he was, but the way he commanded the room and the way he commanded the songs, and he just really took over the room and entertained us.
We were recording the whole day with Tim, and later that night, Tim said, "Why don't we cut a song on Dakota?" So we did that. We cut 1 or 2 songs that night on Dakota, and that kind of got the whole thing kicked off.
It seems like just yesterday I was sitting in my room, blasting my stereo, blasting my amp, visualizing myself playing that sold-out show in a stadium. And fast forward to today, I open my eyes and I'm in the recording studio with Byron Gallamore and Tim McGraw. And we went in the studio and we recorded over 13 songs in a matter of 2 days, and those were the craziest 2 days of my life.
Do you want to kick it? Kick it.
For me, I have to believe in the artists that I'm working with, and really believe that they have the quality and the goods to take it to where we want to take it. And I'm not out just trying to find people to produce. And when you run across somebody like that, and Byron introduces me to somebody like that and allows me to work with him with a project, it's pretty special to me.
He does love producing, and he loves working on projects, and if he really likes something, you know, he'll jump in and help with it.
I don't want to go out with anybody else. I just want to sit here.
A turning point for my songwriting was when I wrote with Colt Ford. Not only was it my first song cut, the album went #1 on iTunes, and I got my first #1 plaque for it.
I think it's cool to write with people that come from different backgrounds, because that way you find different things. And I think, again, his melody and the guitar riffs that he has are really cool. I mean, and that's something that I always look for, is a cool guitar riff with a melody that you can really latch onto and sing along to. I I think that is a definite strength of Dakota's.
Riding with the Warren brothers, who are a piece of work and a piece of art, they taught me all kinds of stuff, but their creative process is what I learned the most about. Those guys are incredible, and it truly inspired me. We wrote this song called Won't Be Young Forever with Lance Miller, and it really has become my anthem, especially at my shows.
Whoa, I'm gonna take it off for granted. Whoa, right now I'm empty-handed. Whoa, I'll try not to say never. I'll be forever young. Whoa, I'm gonna take it off for granted. Whoa.
So I had a great 20th birthday in 2013. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I got to play for 1 hour to a sold-out Tim McGraw show. Opening for Tim McGraw in 1 hour.
You got lunch?
It was absolutely life-changing and incredible. The main thing that I will never forget is that I had people singing a song that I had on the radio, and it was at a Tim McGraw show, and that was one of the coolest things I could have ever asked for.
Certainly because of what he does and his youth and his vibrance and all those things, he certainly attracts a younger audience. But I think that there's a depth to what Dakota does and a depth to the music that he makes that anybody, no matter, you know, if you've been listening to country music for 20 years, you'll get what he does and you'll be drawn into it because there's a sincerity to it.
I grew up being told that things had to be done a certain way, and sometimes you need to limit your dreams because they're too big. And who would have ever thought that all of these amazing opportunities would come my way and I would have a chance to do what I love every day. And this is really just the beginning.
It's a wrap.